Is my lack of connecting about time, or is it the fear?
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.
We're excited to welcome you to another episode of Life's Inside Track. We share techniques, tips, thoughts, and often truths that we all need, we all deserve. You, I, everyone. So we get to turn our house into home where our families thrive and we live the best life possible. Ken,
Yes.
I don't think it's about lack of fear or time.
Lack of fear, it's actually
it's
fear.
about fear.
I think it's about fear.
Or time. You know what I think
Both.
it's about?
No, I think it's about both those.
You don't value me.
Oh, that hurts.
Ouch. For me.
Ouch for me that you think that I don't value you.
Well, because you
That's
don't
crazy.
connect with me.
You're talking crazy, woman.
Okay, so on this episode, what you're going to learn is how to deepen your relationships around deeply connecting with somebody, even if it is a lack of time or maybe an increase of fear, because I'm suspecting if you're with somebody, you probably do value them, even though it doesn't feel that way sometimes.
Right. So what's the title of our radio show?
Life's Inside Track.
So today you are going to get the inside track to Yetta and Ken's life.
Oh, just a small piece, okay? We will not bore you with all the details, and we won't go down too many deep
I think it'd
pits
be
of
fun to
despair.
have a virtual reality TV show
Yeah,
of
let's
the
not.
Deckers.
Let's not.
It would be
We
hilarious.
did talk about that at one point, and I'm so happy that even though a few pilots were shot, we never went anywhere with it because I think it would be too hard to be that transparent.
So a few weeks ago, Yetta was feeling sad.
You say that with such
Sadness.
no, that sounded more patronizing.
Oh, are we going to get into it on the show here?
No, we won't. I promise we're not going to. And I was feeling sad.
Yeah.
And so what I need you to do when I'm sad, and maybe you're like me, that when you're feeling sad, you want someone just to relate to your sadness. They don't have to accept it. They don't have to agree with it. They don't have to understand it. Like, you can leave all those things out there. What I do need you to do is relate to me in my sadness.
I did relate to you because what I did was I said, oh, but this thing is great, and this thing is great, and this thing is great, and look at these things that were great.
So you related to the sadness.
Well,
You didn't relate to Yetta.
in my great manliness, I was attempting to save you from the sadness and bring you into the gratefulness, joy, and happiness that I was having.
And that was a really nice thought. And I think secondary, you could do that. And primary, what I needed, and maybe again, you're like me, what I needed was simply you to relate to the fact that I was feeling sad. You didn't have to get it. Like I said, you didn't have to agree. You didn't have to a lot of things. You just needed to relate to the girl.
Yeah, but what I was afraid of is I went into your sadness
Yeah.
that I might get sucked in there and then become sad myself. And then there would be two sad people. That would be really sad.
That would be hard to get out of. So the point here is simply, how can we learn? And we've been learning this. We're getting better and better and better at it. Touch the sad, or in Ken's case, touch the anger. Because my go-to is sad. Your go-to is generally anger. And I will usually try and convince him he's not really angry, even though he's angry. And so it just escalates and gets crazier. So,
Or you tell me to smarten up.
yeah, smarten up and stop
Just stop it.
Stop it now.
Stop being
Right.
angry.
Stop
Just
doing
get over
that.
yourself.
And so how can we touch it without getting sucked into the vortex is really the conversation that we ended up with.
Yeah.
And so what are some of the tips and the insights that will allow us in future to do it well and that you may want to try on for size? Some of these things you're going, we don't get sucked into each other's stuff. Well, then can you come teach us? Because that would be really nice. So what are some of the tips that you would recommend that can help us touch it without getting consumed by it.
Mm. Well, I think it's the length of time you're in there. I remember Christmas Eve, there was a nice little bonfire, and I was touching the fire. I was clapping my hands in the fire. And what did you think?
I thought he was crazy, man. Crazy, crazy. Why on earth would he stick his good, although cold, hands into the fire and get them burned? And he kept saying to me, but they're not burning. And I'm going, but you're putting them in the fire.
They weren't even warm.
Right. So I did learn it. I was practicing, and it's quite ridiculous when Yetta was practicing. I saw the video later. I wasn't very skilled at it. However, you had learned.
You know why you weren't skilled at it?
Because I don't like to touch the fire.
Because you were afraid of touching the fire. And that's what I said in my opening statement. Was it time? I didn't want to spend the time to help drag you out of the sadness?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it my fear of the sadness and touching it and getting burnt or sucked into it?
Right. So now back to the story of the fire, because you can't just leave that hanging in there, because you sound like somebody that is out to hurt me.
So we could clap the fire without gloves on, and I don't even think it singed the hair off my fingers. Nothing. So we just clap, hands back out. It's the length of time that you're in the fire that matters. The fire is still the same heat, right? So then you practiced, and you did it a little awkwardly at first because you were afraid.
I was afraid. And so when it comes to relationship, as you test out touching it, touching the fear or touching the sadness, you might be a little bit awkward. Actually, I assure you, you will be awkward. Like it's going to be awkward and look a little bit dysfunctional and feel uncomfortable. And yet, as you do it more and more and practice it, you actually will learn how to do it with some grace and ease and flow. And you won't get burned. You won't get sucked in.
So I've been practicing going into the fire, not too long, grab her hand and pull her back out of the fire of sadness. And actually, I was a little grumpy about a few days ago. And
you were hangry.
I was hangry. And how did you do for touching my fire? Not too bad, actually.
Not bad.
You didn't take the offense on your own.
Right.
You simply, as soon as we got to somewhere, you got me some food.
I did. I touched his fire, and I didn't say, would you smarten up and stop being hangry because it's your fault. You didn't pack a lunch. You didn't pack the food you said you were going to do. You didn't prepare for yourself. I didn't say any of those things, although they did run through my head. And I chose grace in the moment. And when we got where we were going, I went and got nuts and seeds and water and other things, actually. I got everything I could that I thought that would sustain him and help him get back into equilibrium. And then the cool thing, which is one of the tips, is once the situation was over and no longer at risk of sucking me in or sucking him in, then we could have a conversation about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. So there's a saying I love, because my love, sometimes you're a little more emotional than I am.
Just a little.
If you feel emotion, just wait. It will pass.
We're grateful to be your partners on the journey of wealth, wisdom, and real estate.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward.